Hello everybody, my name is Irmak Guzey, and today I would like to present to you my graduation project, Human Motion Prediction with Graph Neural Networks. Now, let's start with our motivation. Kinematics of a human body, by its nature, is manufactured by the motions of the joints and the relations between them. In this project, we wish to model and predict the motion of human body by anticipating the movement of its joints and their relations. While doing so, we use some of the joints' movements as reference points. And thanks to this kinetics between the joints and relations, the human body can be represented as a graph structure. That's why we propose to use graph neural networks to address this problem. In addition, graph neural networks is also a good approach because they can grasp similar dynamics through a human body, such as the resemblance between right arm and left arm. Graph neural networks can capture the dependence between the nodes, where the environment is represented as a graph structure. Both interaction networks and propagation networks are different variations of graph neural networks, and in environments with multiple interacting objects, interaction networks take objects and relations as input, and it first computes the effect of subsequent objects towards each other by using relational reasoning between them, and then it applies object dynamics to predict the future state of the environment. On top of interaction networks, with propagation networks, instant effect of an object in a state is not only sent to its subsequent neighbor, but it propagates to the whole structure so that it can handle problems such as Newton's gravity. And that is why in this work, we in particular propose to use propagation networks. This is a graphical illustration of our framework, and as you can see, propagation networks are the core mechanism of our framework. Now, in the environment, we represent the human body with a graph structure where nodes represent the joints and the edges represent the relations between them. So here we first extract joint attributes and relation attributes from the dataset. Joint attributes consist of position, velocity, and joint types. And relation attributes consist of the vectorial distance between the joints that have the corresponding relation. Here, the node with the gray filling represents the joint which the system knows the position of through the whole trajectory, and the other nodes represent the joints to be predicted. After graph extraction, these attributes are first encoded by using joint and relation encoder MLPs, relatively. This helps us to improve the efficiency of the overall model. Then, encoded attributes are passed to the propagation part. In this part, effect of joints and relations are propagated to the whole structure step by step by evaluating the propagating effects of attributes in each step. For example, first, encoded relation attributes and the joint propagating effects from the previous step are given to the relation propagator. And relation propagator evaluates the propagating effect of relations in the current step. Then, these relation propagating effects are accumulated, and with the encoded joint attributes and the propagating effect of joints in the previous step, passed to the joint propagator, which then calculates the propagating effects of joints. This process of using propagator MLP subsequently is notated as a propagation step. And with each propagation step, extent of the objects that the information is passed gets larger. For example, if there was only one propagation step, only the neighboring joints of the reference point would hold the information of the effect of the motion of reference point. On the other hand, if there were more propagation steps, then the information would also be passed to the non-consequent neighbors with a diminishing impact. Finally, after some number of propagation steps are satisfied, the joint and relation attributes in the next time step is extracted from the final propagating effects. And with this, the prediction of the joints for one time step is evaluated. But in our system, we don't only wish to predict for one time step, we wish to predict the whole trajectory. That is why predicted attributes are used in the following time steps to have further predictions. For experiments, we used Karlsruhe Institute of Technology Whole Body Human Motion Database. While recording this database, markers are placed into multiple different points in the human body, and 3D positions of joints through multiple movement trajectories are recorded. As a first experiment, we used only 2 walking trajectories of the same type to train and test the model. And as a second experiment, we trained the model with 20 different movements. They include jumping forward, rightwards, leftwards, waving, walking in circles, running, and more. Now for the results. These are the results of the first experiment. And as said, the model is trained with two walking trajectories. These animations represent example predicted and ground truth motions. Green points represent the predictions and red points represent the ground truth positions. Predictions are made with propagation network that is trained with 10 propagation steps and with right hand given as reference point, meaning the motion of right hand is known through the trajectory. And as can be seen, the predictions are quite close to the ground truth positions. For the second experiment's results, here the model is trained with 20 different movement trajectories, and we show 3 of these movements predictions here. Again, predictions are shown with green points and ground truth positions are shown with red points. 10 propagation steps are used, and this time both hands are given as reference points. So here we can see that although the model works well in horizontal and vertical axis, predictions are not as good in the lateral axis. Thus, we can conclude that it becomes harder for the model to generalize when it is trained with more varied movements. And this is also another look in 3D for the running action. To further investigate the model and the results, here we show the predicted and ground truth positions of different joints through the walking trajectory from the first experiment. We can see right elbow and right hand joints on the left side and left knee and left foot joints on the right side. The blue line represents the predictions and the orange line represents the ground truth positions. And we can see that while right elbow's predictions are around 20 millimeters far from the ground truth, left knee and foot predictions are around 100 to 200 millimeters far from the ground truth. And with this, we can say that less accuracy is observed in further joints. Also, to reflect the effect of reference points with more details, this graph shows the average error in millimeters through time steps in trained trajectories. With each line, different joints are given as reference points. And as you can see, the error is higher when only right hand is given to the system, comparing to when head and hands and feet are given to the system. Thus, we can say that the model performance is better as the number and extent of the points that are known through the trajectory increases. This is an expected outcome considering the main logic behind propagation networks. Now, I want to show the effect of propagation steps that are used to train the model to accuracy. Again, with the same logic, we expect to have better accuracy with increasing number of propagation steps. This graph shows the average error when the model is trained with 3 propagation steps. Then, errors of the models with more propagation steps are evaluated. And we can observe in this graph that the error is less when more propagation steps are used in training. So we can conclude that the model performance is better as the number of propagation steps increase as well. Finally, as was explained in our approach, the predictions and further time steps are made by using previous predictions. Here we show the effect of using these predictions back to back. This graph shows the average error in millimeters of different models. Chained PropNet notates the model that we use, where attributes are extracted from previous predictions. One-step PropNet notates the model where attributes are, in each step, extracted from ground truth positions of joints. The error increases by using predictions as attributes, since the error is in predictions as a cumulative impact to the next time steps. Overall, in this work, we propose how propagation networks can be used in human motion prediction, and we believe that the preliminary results are promising. As future work, we wish to compare the proposed model with some state-of-the-art implementations for human motion prediction, investigate the model in details by performing an ablation study where accuracy is evaluated with some subunits of the model is modified, and examine the generalization capabilities of the model with different human bodies. That was my presentation, and thank you all for listening.